Hello and welcome back to the Football Chat. Today we head to France and more specifically Nice in Ligue 1. We're going to talk about why Nice can win the title, why OGC Nice have been so good this season and why we may well see PSG stopped once more. So, Nice, where to start? Shall we look at their start to this campaign? Because it's been very, very impressive, hasn't it?
I mean, it's been incredible. Not only to be ahead of PSG, but to be top of the league and to look so defensively solid, it's insane. And to beat PSG on the way, it's probably the best start to the season they could have asked for.
It's been fantastic. 10 games played so far. They are yet to lose. 6 wins and 4 draws. 11 goals scored, though. A shockingly low amount of goals, considering they are top of the league. They've almost had more games than they have had goals. 4 goals conceded as well, though, is incredibly impressive, considering 2 of those are against PSG as well. That's a very, very impressive run. But yeah, it's been a bit of a weird start to the season. You wouldn't expect to see a team that scored just 11 goals to be right at the sharp end. In fact, that's as many as Toulouse have managed in 12th. It's 4 less than Montpellier in 11th. And Lorient in 15th have scored 15. So it's clearly a bit of an issue for Nice is getting goals, but they are so defensively solid. They find themselves top of the table right now.
Yeah, and I think, I look at their attack, the likes of Laborde and Moffy and Boga, they'll find the score sheet eventually. They're very good players and they will start bagging goals, but if their defence can stay as solid as it has for the first 10 games, there's no reason why they can't win this title.
So 7 clean sheets so far this campaign. While there's only 11 goals scored, they have underperformed their expected goals by 5.31. To be overperforming in terms of goals conceded and to be overperforming in terms of where you are in the table while still underperforming in expected goals is very, very impressive.
It's mental.
But yeah, they find a lot of the goals in the second half, which suggests they do struggle to break down teams and they tend to only win by 1-0 or 2-0 margins at a very push. But they did beat already PSG, Marseille and Monaco. They beat PSG away 3-2, Marseille at home 1-0 and Monaco away 1-0. But that PSG game, without that 3-2, which was 5 goals in a game, very rare for Nice, they'd have only conceded 2 goals this season and only scored 8.
Yeah, I mean, it is insane. I think the reason for the struggling to break, we've seen that struggling to break down and the lack of goals is the reason why they're still top of the league. But have drawn some silly games to Lyon, to Brest,
they
to
could
Lorient.
be very clear right now, couldn't they, Nick? They've been really good this season, but there is still a lot of room for them to improve massively. Now, I want to talk as well about how this has happened then. So let's talk about the manager. It's a name that not many people recognise. In fact, Harry, I don't think you will recognise it. Francesco Farioli.
No, I can't say I've heard of him.
No, I'm sure a lot of people at home wouldn't have heard of him, and that's because you shouldn't have. How could you? Yeah. He's 34, which makes him 6 years younger than Dante, who starts at centre half for Nice.
He was having a stellar season.
He was having a fantastic
40 years old.
He's absolutely smashing it. But he finished playing at 21, never played above the 8th tier of Italian football, yet now he is a very successful coach. So he started out as a goalkeeping coach, worked in for various Serie A clubs, and actually worked with Roberto De Zerbi, which is where he picked up his style of play. So he was at Benevento and Sassuolo with De Zerbi as a goalkeeping coach. After that, he moved to the Turkish Super League to become a manager. So he got a job at, I believe it was Antalyaspor, and then he's built up his craft from there. I think he had another job after that. And now he finds himself in Nice, which is like the most insane story. But yeah, he's only ever coached in the Turkish top flight, but impressed the ownership of Nice with his ideas and philosophy. So he did a really good job of that. And I think he does take, if you watch the way they play, it does take a lot of inspiration from Roberto De Zerbi. They love to have possession, which is a very De Zerbi thing. He loves the ball. But what he's been able to do is make a De Zerbi system that's incredibly tight defensively, but does lose a little bit of its attacking potency, evidently. Because they've not scored as many as Brighton have, and they've definitely conceded a lot less than Brighton have. But yeah, it's been very successful so far.
They have been, and I mean, it does feel like everyone's copying De Zerbi at the moment, but it's clearly working.
Everyone's copying someone in football, aren't they?
He's up there beating the likes of Luis Enrique, so he's doing something right.
Yeah, indeed. They find themselves a point ahead of PSG at the moment. And Farioli, considering he's a young coach, I think there's still a lot for him to learn. And I think he will adapt the tactic to make it a bit more fruitful in front of goal. But overall, clearly he's doing something right. And it's really encouraging to see a young coach succeeding in the top flight of a European league. Just 34 years old, as I say, there are players in his own squad older than them. When you consider the average age of a lot of managers, it tends to be late 40s, early 50s. That even Roy Hodgson in his 80s or 70s. But Yeah, it's refreshing to see a young manager come in and do so well. Let's talk about the squad then. Nice, very, very decent team. Now, they've had some great players for years, like Kefren Turam and Jean-Claire Todibo, who has been in a bit of controversy, Jean-Claire Todibo, but has been really good. I don't know if you saw that, but they had a bit of a weird grey cloud overshadowing their performances recently, because Yusuf Attal has been banned for 7 weeks following his statement of support to Palestine, and Jean-Claire Todibo caught some fire for laughing during a minute's silence in the France-Netherlands game. So it's been a bit of a weird month. He said it was a nervous laugh during a minute's silence because it's his international debut. But yeah, a bit of a weird month. Anyway, their squad's very strong. Players like Thuram and Todibo. They added then Terem Moffi this summer. I think that's a great bit of business, an experienced league going forward. Well, he hasn't had many goals yet. I'm sure those goals will come for him soon. And they've also got Marcin Bolka, who I was really surprised to see there.
Yeah, no,
of course, there's a lot of other talents as well we haven't mentioned. But yeah, really surprised to see him. Obviously, the ex-Chelsea Academy graduate. Yeah, clearly a really decent team, and they've added a load of players this summer. And yeah, very young squad. I think most of the starting 11 are below the age of 25, 26, I think.
Yeah.
The oldest, other than Dante and Laborde, who are very much those experienced leaders.
Yeah.
Especially in the case of Dante, as I say, 40 years old, who can just provide a little bit of leadership, a little bit of experience to what is an otherwise very, very inexperienced and youthful team, including the manager. Like, it doesn't help when you've got such a young squad and a young manager, but it has worked so far for Nice. So yeah, very good squad, and load in the summer, very successful stuff. The other thing that's really interesting, before we get into their play style and how well they're doing, is obviously Nice are owned by Sergio and Ratcliffe.
Yeah.
Obviously, with Manchester United potentially being purchased by Sergio and Ratcliffe very shortly, it seems like that will happen now. It's going to be interesting. Obviously, they would be a clash of interests if they are to meet in European competition, which does seem realistic that could happen. If Nice are able to get into Champions League, well, United might not be able to, but you never know. maybe they would have played each other at some point, but could present a potential clash or conflict there for Sergio Ratcliffe. But yeah, Nice have a very good side at the moment.
They do have a very good side, and I mean, obviously that conflict wouldn't help them, but I mean, it'd be like on the second side, really. If they were United, you can pick up some good players from there.
However, if you are a United fan, it's probably not encouraging to hear the opinions of a lot of Nice fans, because from what I grasp, now I'm sure there'll be Nice fans on this video, and you can leave your thoughts further in the comments, but from what I grasp, it's not really been the owners that have made the club very good. In fact, the investment's not really been there too much, but they've got some great people below them. Now that could be really useful. That could be great for United, obviously, if they were able to take out people like Richard Arnold and replace them with football people in those positions. Potentially, the sporting side of Manchester United becomes a lot more successful.
Yeah.
So let's talk about that play style then. As always, with a De Zerbi system, very, very good on the ball. And it does take a lot of inspiration from Roberto De Zerbi, but there are some distinct differences. There are a lot of similarities. I really like his out-of-possession shape. It's something I'm sure a lot of people won't be too interested in, but out-of-possession shape, whenever they don't have the ball, looks really interesting. So what they've been doing so far in the pressing shape is dropping Yusuf Nadia Shamieh, I hope I pronounced that correctly, in between the centre-halves to form a situational back three. That takes a player out of the midfield, but it just means they've got three at the back, so they're a little bit more defensively secure. And it plays a lot into why they've conceded so few goals this season, because they are so adamant and focused on being defensively sound. So he slots in between the centre-backs, then the wing-backs can push forward. It leaves them outnumbered in midfield, but it does mean that everything else is covered, and then Laborde comes forward or Boga, depending on what side they're playing the ball, and will press up onto the centre-halves. So then they create a two at the front press, and then have the three, so it's almost a 3-4, one of the wingers floating about, and then the two pressing. So yeah, it's quite an interesting out of possession shape. They love to spread the ball wide, very, very reminiscent of a De Zerbi system. Love getting the ball out wide, love getting the wingers involved, and then looking for cutbacks, looking for crosses, trying to find players in the box. There's some brilliant goals they've scored this season from those situations. They've also had a few penalties, which is quite useful. They've also missed a few of those penalties and had a few penalties against them missed. In fact, the Monaco-Nice game was a very fascinating fixture. As I say, 1-0 to Nice in the away game. But, so Folarin Balogun missed a penalty in the 12th minute and then again in the 56th minute for Monaco. Quite a crazy game. Jeremy Boga scored in the 91st minute. It was a cutback from Melvin Bard, and Boga finished it well. Oh, sorry, not a cut. The Boga goal was Bard playing it forwards, and then Boga went on a fantastic mazy dribble and started past the goalkeeper. But a lot of their goals and assists have come from those wide players. Not that they have scored a lot, but they are doing well, Nice. They're getting results over the line. They did draw a Brest recently, and I think that was probably the greatest demonstration of how they can't seem to find goals.
Yeah.
But other than that, they are doing really well. They drew as well with Lyon. That's one of Lyon's 2 points, or 3 points now this season. So
wow,
gifting them something there. But yeah, it's been really interesting to see some of the star players. Recently, we've seen a lot of Boudaoui, I believe that's how you say his name, Boudaoui, the Algerian. He's looked really, really good. Obviously, they tended to play Sanson, Nadia Chimay and Kefren Turan in midfield, but they've introduced Boudaoui into a starting role recently, and he's actually looked really, really solid. So it's not just that they've got a strong starting 11, they have got some nice rotation options, including they have Evan Gasson, who played up front last time for them, replacing Terran Moffi in that starting 11, and then recently Pablo Rosario of the Netherlands coming in to replace Yusuf Attal, of course, who has been suspended. But yeah, they've been doing really well so far, Nice. They could definitely challenge PSG at the top. How high do you see, or how low do you think their ceiling is? What can they achieve?
I mean, if they keep defending where they are, they could do brilliantly. But they do need to start scoring goals because it's like they have got a brick wall and at the back, but they haven't really got any. They've got no attack. They have got an attack, but they're not doing much, and they need to start doing something. Because I feel like they want to stay at the top, they need to start scoring goals.
It's not like, as you say, they've got a really good attack. It's not like you look in those positions and go, where are the goals coming from? Boga, Moffi, Laborde, all great goals. It's not like you look at the team and go, where's the creativity coming from? You've got Melvin Bard on one side, you've got Yusuf Attal on the other. I know he's suspended at the moment, but he's still in the side. So there's definitely a lot that can be done there, especially with one player dropping into form a back three. Yeah. You can get Attal and Bard very, very high up, and I imagine that'll be something that Farioli goes on to explore potentially this season, because that is another way they could get some goals.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like it's one of those where the goals will come eventually, so just keep doing what they're doing, because those players, players like Laborde, they can't stay out of form forever. They're brilliant, brilliant goal scorers. It will work. So if they keep as defensively sound as they are right now, and the goals will come, what's stopping them, really?
Yeah.
Apart from PSG, which is, apart from Mbappe, what's stopping them,
Yeah.
I do think the top of the table, or at least near the top of the table, is achievable.
Champions League?
I think definitely so. Beating PSG will be very difficult.
I've already done it once.
If they manage to pull it off, that's incredible.
Yeah. Oh, I mean, I've already done it once on the pitch.
Yeah.
Next 5 fixtures then is Rennes at home, Montpellier away, Toulouse at home, Nantes away, and then Reims at home. So a nice run of fixtures. Then Le Havre after that, which, while they have started the season, or at least did start the season quite strongly, have started to slip down now. So yeah, not too many difficult matches. Reims obviously still right up there with Will still at the helm. They've also, Nantes at the moment, having a really good season, up in 7th. Rennes in 8th, need to start making up some points, so that could be a difficult match. But Nice will start the season really well. If they keep it up, it's going to be an interesting title fight. PSG still firmly up there. Monaco had a really good start to the season. Actually would be top of the league had they not lost 2-0 to Lille last weekend. So
it's really random.
Bit stupid that of Monaco. But
I mean, Nice, invincible so far. Unbeatable.
If they keep it up, surely they'll
play beating PSG and being invincible.
Yeah.
That's an incredible feat.
PSG have already lost this season, so they can't do that, obviously losing to Nice. But yeah, it's been a good start to the campaign in Ligue 1, and the quality is really there to be seen by everyone. Lille also 4th still in the title fight. I think anyone that dismisses this title fight going on, it's a Farmers League, you're missing out. It's going to be a good title fight. Nice have done well so far.
I mean, we do usually see maybe a bit of a challenge from Monaco or Lille at the start, but then PSG run away. But with this many teams in it, there's no way they can all drop enough points to let PSG run away. It's not possible.
PSG do have a bit of a nice fixture. Well, they've got Montpellier next, then Reims, then they have Monaco
that's a big
at
game.
home.
Big game, that.
Yeah, unfortunately they don't have a Champions League game before it. They got a Champions League game after it, but yeah, Le Havre and then Nantes after that. Nantes could give them a challenge. Then they play Lille heading towards Christmas. So some difficult fixtures for PSG. But it is PSG. They should come out of it unscathed, really. But we'll be interested to see whether Nice can keep it up, whether they can actually challenge PSG. whether they could actually lay their hands on their first Ligue 1 title since 1959.
It would be a massive feat then.
Yeah.
Blimey, that has been a long time.
It's been a while. It's been a while since they've been right at the top. They've been down. They've been down to Ligue 2 since then. They've won the Coupe de France in 1997, but nothing major since then. So yeah.
It would be great.
It would be fantastic to see them see it happen. That's everything for today, though, guys. Yeah. I think this is a very, very interesting story. If you guys have some thoughts, leave them in the comments below. Do you think Nice could win the league? And are you a fan of Farioli and the Nice team? Make sure to leave those thoughts in the comments below. That is everything, though, for this week's video. Go and check out last week's where we spoke about Girona. That will be on screen now. Thank you guys very, very much for watching, and we'll see you next time.
See ya.